Why isn't there anyone joining?
You still have 10 minutes.
Okay. Okay. I was just like confused. I was just like worried if there's like two different links. 'Cause sometimes that happens.
Let me try and share the screen now.
Yeah. I mean, well, you can probably turn on the link if you want.
Hey everyone, we're currently giving it a couple more minutes to make sure that we have quorum. So we will get going in just a second. All right, so I think we're gonna go ahead and get started today. I will go ahead and call the meeting to order at 5:01 p.m. And then we will go ahead and move on to it. All right. So when I say your name, please say whether or not you are present and voting or present. Speaker Johnson.
Present.
Legislator Butler. Legislator Butler. Legislator Childs. Legislator Childs.
Present.
Right. Legislator Jozwicki. Legislator Fosna. Legislator Fosna. Legislator Hendricks. Legislator Hendricks. Legislator Johnson. Legislator Johnson. Legislator Liam Pace.
Present.
Legislator Markowitz.
Present.
Legislator Mason. I see a present in the chat. Legislator Outing. Legislator Outing. Legislator Sabaj. Legislator Sabaj. Legislator Seidel. Legislator Williams. Legislator Smith J. Cooper. Legislator Smith Mackenzie. Legislator Smith. Are you present or present and voting? Yeah. Okay. Legislator Smith Rose. Legislator Verzillo.
Present.
Legislator Wolf. Legislator Whitegeist.
Present.
Then I see a present in the chat from Legislator Fosna. Alrighty, so with that, we have quorum for today. You're good. All right, so next we will move on to our land acknowledgement. We recognize the wrongs done to those forcibly removed from their homelands and commit to fostering an environment of inclusion that is responsive to the needs of First Peoples through our words, policies, and actions. Alrighty, next we will move on to the approval of agenda. We will have a voice vote. Are there any motions to amend the agenda? All right, seeing none, are there any yays?
Yay.
Yay.
Are there any nays? All right, hearing none, the agenda is approved. Moving on, we will go to the approval of meeting minutes from May 1st. They're linked to the agenda if you'd like to take a look through them. Are there any yays? Are there any motions to amend? My apologies. Any motions to amend the meeting minutes from May 1st? Okay, seeing none, are there any yays? Are there any nays? All right, with that, the meeting minutes from May 1st are approved. Are there any announcements at this time? Seeing none, oh, I see a present in the chat from legislator outing. All right, seeing no announcements, we will move on to comments from the gallery. Are there any comments from the gallery at this time? Hearing and seeing none. We will move on to new business. So up first, we have the approval of the commuter support chair. This is presented by Speaker Johnson. And we have Lance Markowitz and Matthew Seidel going up for commuter support chair. Legislator Smith?
I would support the motion to perform this via a secret ballot.
So Legislator Smith has put forth a motion to have this vote via secret ballot. Okay, so a second from Legislator Seidel. We'll move to a roll call vote. Alrighty. Okay. All right, so when I say your name, please say whether you vote yay or nay for the secret ballot motion. Legislator Dreswicki? Yay. Speaker Johnson?
Yay.
Legislator Childs?
Yay.
Legislator Fosna? I see a yay in the chat. Legislator Liam Pace?
Yay.
Legislator Markowitz?
Yay.
Legislator Mason? Legislator Mason? Legislator, oh, let's see. To respond to Legislator Liam Pace, so this motion will only be for the commuter support chair. Okay. I see a yay in the chat from Legislator Mason. Legislator Outing. I see a yay in the chat. Legislator Seidel.
Yay.
Legislator Williams. Legislator Smith.
Yeah.
Legislator Smith. Yeah. Legislator Smith.
Yeah.
It's helpful to have all of you in the same room. Legislator Verzillo.
Yay.
Legislator Wolf. Yay. And Legislator Wykeis.
Yay.
All right, so with that, the secret ballot for commuter support chair has been Approved. All right, so moving on, this will be presented by Speaker Johnson. So with that, Speaker Johnson, you have the floor.
Thank you. So for those who don't know, the Commuter Support Chair is an important part of the legislative leadership because they get to represent the commuters on campus outside of, those who live on campus. And seeing that Oakland is a major commuter school, it's rather important that Congress have someone whose job it is to help find initiatives that might appeal to commuters or ways to help keep the Congress involved in things that commuters have going on. So we have two people who would love to go up for this position today. I'm going to throw it to them so they can ramble on as long as they need to. And we'll start with Legislator Markowitz.
Would it be possible to let Legislator Seidel go first? I'm exiting right now, so it might be slightly hard for me to start.
That's fine if Legislator Seidel is fine going first.
Back up there.
You can come up here so the computer can hear you better.
I have a question. Can there only be one commuter support chair, or can there be multiple?
As of now, only one, because that's all the budget calls for.
Where can I put my computer? Yeah. Thank you. Hello, I'm Matt. I've been a commuter here for 2 years now, and I'm going to continue to commute for the rest of my time here at OU. My goal with running for commuter support chair is that I would like to turn the commuter support committee into an arm of the legislature that reaches out to students more and advocates for a lot of the commuter-based issues that we face. The big thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to use the enumerated powers to establish the commuter support committee. Here are some of the list of things that we're going to advocate for with that committee. Online and hybrid classes, which are really important for commuters when it comes to maintaining schedules, especially since many of us have to work to stay in school and continue our education. Second, we're going to be advocating against 8 a.m. finals and finals that go past 8 p.m. because when you're commuting sometimes an hour or 30 minutes to the university and have an 8 a.m. final and then a 3 p.m. final later in the afternoon, just the lack of sleep alone will lower your test scores and put you at a disadvantage. Third, we've had an issue over the past couple of years in the winters that the cancellation of classes or switching to online during extreme weather conditions such as snow or whatever else has been very unclear and has been extremely inconsistent. And I don't think I'm the only one who has been driving here in a snowstorm for an hour trying to get here for my early morning classes, only to find that it's been canceled 30 minutes after I got here. Next, I would like to use the commuter support committee to establish an OUSC public Discord server to reach out to students more effectively. And I would like it to make it the responsibility of the commuter support committee to maintain and run this, to leave some of the work that our wonderful executive platform does for this and bring a little bit more to the legislative branch and have some representation there. And finally, for the legislatures here, there's been a lot of talk to remove the 50-50 rule when it comes to remote work versus in-person work. And for many of us who live off of campus, much of what we do in the legislature when it comes to prepping for meetings, preparing budget and research doesn't require us to be in person. However, the administration is still pressuring us to remove remote work. And so we will continue to try to support commuters and maintain the status quo. That's my platform. And thank you so much for listening to me ramble on for a while.
All right, Legislator Markowitz, are you free now?
At this time, before we move on to Legislator Markowitz, are there any questions for Legislator Seidel? All right, not seeing any at this time, so Speaker Johnson, you're free to move on to Legislator Markowitz introduction.
Legislator Markowitz, if you're free, the floor is yours, good sir. Is he? I don't think he's in the meeting right now, is he? On your end?
Let me double check. I believe so, but didn't he mention something about transitioning? Or might have been in the car. Oh, it looks like Legislator Markowitz is no longer in the meeting. You do? Could you call him? Just say that we're ready for him to give his speech for Commuter Support Chair.
Don't like.
You're on speaker.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Can everybody hear me? I apologize. I disconnected.
Yes.
No,
we
you're
can-
good. If you're ready,
Okay.
the floor is yours, good sir.
Thank you very much. So first of all, I wanted to kind of harp on the point. So one of my criticisms of last year's OUSC team, I guess, is that I thought that we were relatively agreeable. And so I think it sets a really good precedent having more than one people run for the same position. And so I just wanted to say, since we have so many new legislators, that if you are thinking of running for like a director position or like a chair position, to run for it, because I think the competition is good. And I think it just helps perpetuate good ideas. And it also helps to kind of get rid of any like misconception that like if somebody runs against you that it's a personal attack. So with that being said, I was the previous commuter chair. I don't think that matters though. I think what matters most is what I did while commuter chair and before then. And so my approach for supporting commuters is that I think it has to start in the classroom, because we have a really, really difficult time at this school being able to engage and get commuters to events. And so I think the best way is more of a roundabout way to get them to events. And so by increasing the quality of classes, and by increasing the quality of classes, I mean making classes more engaging, I mean more active learning, where you're working in groups, you're doing projects with people, and that leads to more friendships. And so when you have more friends, that's more people to go to events with, more people to encourage you to go to events that they're interested in. And so I think that it has kind of this cascade effect once you start getting classrooms to be of higher quality. And so then what exactly have I done to try and increase the quality of classrooms? And so when I started the Student Engagement Task Force, which was all about student engagement in the classroom. And so I did a bunch of research to kind of understand like what is the best way to teach? Like is active learning, like getting students involved in groups, having them do like game-based learning where they're using review games and whatnot. Is that actually better than passive learning, like lecturing? And the answer it is. And students don't know that. There's actually a very interesting study that was published by Harvard that identified that students think that they learn worse with active learning, even though they score better on tests. And so because of that, it dissuades a lot of faculty from trying active learning because they don't want it to affect their tenure track. And so because of that, I started working with the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning, which the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning is a faculty organization that basically does everything that I want to do. They support faculty with different resources that they can use for best teaching practices. And so I do an annual event with them, which is a student panel event. And the event is all about getting student voices regarding different engagement strategies in the classroom. And so it's a particularly good opportunity for commuters like myself to have our voices heard because, sorry, one moment. Because I believe so it's an annual event, but the last panel was majority, if not every single person, was a commuter. And commuters oftentimes respond differently to the kind of techniques that professors use, especially if it's project-based, because a lot of times commuters are more likely to want to do kind of work on their own. And so I do that event every year, which is actually the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning. It's their most heavily attended event of the year. I also do a student event. So the student panel, that's for faculty and staff. The Maximizing College event, which I have already put in the chat, and I'm sure some of you have heard about, that is for students. And it's all about maximizing your college experience. And when you live on campus, it's a lot easier to do that because all the resources are kind of right there in your face. But when you're a commuter, you kind of got to look for them a little bit harder. And so this year, it's going to be even more like a resource fair. I'm going to be very shortly reaching out to more people and pretty much all the campus resources that I can get a hold of. And so club sports, the counseling center, pretty much anything else I can think of, SPB, like all the SAFAC orgs. So that way, commuter students really know how many resources they have on campus that not just improves their experience, but actually improves the quality of their learning, like the tutoring center, or it's formerly known as the Academic Success Center now. Besides that, I do a lot of administrative work. And so I've started working on the strategic planning of the university. And because of a resolution that I wrote in the Student Congress that was ultimately passed by the University Senate as well, student engagement became a primary theme of the new plan. And so it has its own committee, in addition to an academic innovation committee that also overlaps with kind of getting that student engagement in the classroom. And I serve on both of those. And so I'm going to continue doing that as commuter support chair. The extra hour gives me the flexibility to really make sure that I'm attending as many faculty meetings as possible and making sure that our voices as commuters are heard. With that, I yield. Thank you, everybody.
Alrighty, so at this time, we will be moving on to our secret ballot vote. Oh. So legislator Seidel will be posting stuff for his platform in the Zoom. So if you're interested, you can take a look at that. At this time, is there any? So at this time, Matt or legislator Seidel, I'm going to ask you to leave the room. And Lance, I will move you into a breakout room. President Garcia, would you be able to help me with that just quickly?
Will we be able to ask the candidates any questions? I know sometimes there's like debate in front of that. There's a little bit of questions and I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so before we move on to discussion, is there any Q&A for legislator Markowitz? Legislator Lehan Pace.
All right. So I guess my biggest question, and I guess this goes for both candidates. You mentioned obviously commuter support chair means that you are helping students who aren't on campus. You're focused on getting voices heard of people who don't have as much access to the campus community. Oakland is a majority commuter school. You talked about difficulties getting to campus, and with that come potential car troubles. And so I guess I was wondering what experience, if any, either of you have with the regional bus system, SMART, or any sort of like public transit options, and how we can make sure that these are not only more viable to students, but something the students actually know about. Do you have any strategies for implementing alternate ways of transporting yourself to campus, I guess, is my question.
Whichever one of you would like to go first. Legislator Markowitz, you have the floor.
Sure. That's a good question. So in all honesty, I would say that most of my work hasn't delved into that. Of course, I'm absolutely open to it, but I haven't had any personal experience using the public transit. And so I can't speak personally to my experience, but of course I'm always open to working with you on that.
Given the inefficiencies of the bus system in Southeast Michigan, a lot of students don't use it, and I'm happy to advocate for the increased usage of it, but primarily I want to focus on car commuters because those are the vast majority of commuters at this university, and so that's why we're focusing on weather considerations because rather than busing. However, as with Lance, Legislator Markowitz, I am also open to suggestions and trying to improve the knowledge of that for those who need it.
All right, so Legislator Seidel, you can leave the room, and then I'm going to move Legislator Markowitz into a breakout room.
I actually had a question. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear me.
Oh yeah, of course. Legislator Butler, what was?
Yeah.
Seems like
Sorry,
you
I
should
was
be the
if
person.
either candidate has specific goals for how to achieve higher interaction for both student orgs and office resources. As Legislator Markowitz pointed out, this is an area that is very difficult to get community students to interact with things. So I just was wondering if there was any specific goals or programs that either candidate wants to implement to achieve that.
I apologize, Legislator Butler. Would you be able to repeat that? We couldn't hear you very well.
I'm so sorry. Does speaking louder help, or do you want me to type it in the chat?
I think we can hear you pretty clearly.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I was wondering if there were any specific goals that either candidate had to achieve higher interaction with student orgs as well as on-campus resources. As Legislator Markowitz pointed out, like this is an area where it's more difficult for commuter students to interact. So I was just wondering if either candidate had more specific like implementations that they wanted to achieve.
Do you mind, Lance, if I go first?
I didn't hear what you said, but go ahead.
So yeah, absolutely. We trying to engage commuters is obviously the big challenge that we have when we're running events here at this university, regardless of what we're doing. And I have a lot of experience with that running a student org myself. And that's why I'm focusing on outreach online through a Discord server, which I find that is the primary way to reach reach students. And I've also noticed that the knowledge of OUSC on campus is about 0 or completely negative. And I hope by being able to have a direct connection with students that they can access from their homes without having to figure out how to log onto a Zoom for a GBM or otherwise, where they can submit their suggestions or their requests to Student Congress, they'll be able to communicate more directly and have more interaction. And so we're focusing on online outreach is my goal.
So my approach with that, I would say that aligns very closely with my Maximizing College event. So to give a little bit more background on it. So last year, the way that I ran it, I didn't want there to be any tabling because I thought that it would be maybe a little bit distracting to the primary goals, which was to tell students about the resources, and then also to provide an environment where students could socialize and get to know each other with other motivated students like themselves. But I try to improve my events every year. And so one of the things that I thought was a major area of improvement was that I could make it more like a resource fair. And so, in response to, you know, increasing engagement and everything, it is tough to get students, you know, to want to come to anything. Obviously there's GrizFest, which is like well attended, you know, and like our clubs are usually pretty well attended to begin with, unless they're club sports, in terms of funding as well. So that's part of the reason why I wanted to also tie in, like there will be a club sport table at the event. As far as that, like, is that all that differentiative? Or is that differentiating much from GrizFest? It's not. But I think it's an additional opportunity that kind of puts club sports, puts, you know, different student orgs in commuters' faces, where it gives them that extra opportunity to join that emailing list, and, you know, hear about the different updates that are going on. Because I know that like a lot of students don't get involved until they get really involved. Like it's like they join, they go to one thing and then they're like, oh shoot, that was actually really cool. And then they start looking at like what else the university has to offer. Like the amount of times that I talk to different commuters on campus and they're like, Grizz orgs, is that, what's it called? Like they've never heard of it. Like I have to tell them, you know, where they can find different clubs. And then when I start telling them about all the clubs that OU has, they're like very interested in it. And so the way that I actually get engagement and like I ensure that my events are successful. So last year, the Maximizing College event was one of OUSC's most heavily attended event. We had about 50 people come. And this year, and so that was upstairs in the OC in a banquet room. And so or a ballroom. And so it was tucked away. This year it's going to be in the Habitat, in addition to that main hallway of the OC, in the middle of lunchtime. So the location is way, way better. To ensure that we're getting those commuter students that are kind of walking through that area, that even if I catch them for 5 minutes and they stop at 2 different tables, that's a huge win.
Alrighty, is there any more questions for Legislator Seidel or Legislator Markowitz at this time? Great, so seeing none, Legislator Seidel, you can now leave the room. And Legislator Markowitz, I'm gonna go ahead and move you into a breakout room.
Is this him?
Mhm.
Where did he go? No, cancel. Don't remove him. Where did he go? Where did he go? I didn't remove him, right?
I don't think so.
Where did? Oh, there. Okay. Okay. Put it in.
All right.
Did you?
All right, is there any discussion on either, oh, should we close those doors? Yes.
Be careful, I know the one here, that one is blocked, I just. It's like active lock outside.
Alrighty, is there any discussion regarding Legislator Seidel or Legislator Markowitz at this time?
If Legislator Smith was contributing to the discussion, it couldn't really be heard online.
Legislator Smith didn't say anything.
Legislator Smith was just talking about the door.
Oh yeah, we were just discussing the door and the door locking. That
Oh,
was
all right. I just want to make sure.
yeah. Okay, so seeing no discussion. Yeah.
I guess I would I know I brought up the transit issue and I know it's not something that's currently used, but I think if you're going to be a commuter support chair, part of the job would be encouraging the use of public transit because like obviously Southeast Michigan and Metro Detroit's bus system is not fantastic, but they've done a lot of improvements recently that students don't know about. And I mean, even the two candidates didn't really seem to know about. And I don't hold that against them very much, but I do think that I would definitely like to see it become part of their agenda to raise awareness for that because, I mean, it would just open a lot more doors if somebody like say in Troy or in even Rochester can just take the bus here instead of wasting gas to get. I think that would be the best angle to play up for it, but that's neither here nor there. I think that it's their responsibility to maybe try and improve transit ridership to Oakland, especially now that there's more connections to Oakland that you can get here with public transit.
All right, is there any other discussion relating to either candidate at this time? Legislator Fosna said, I agree with Legislator Lamb Pace. It is also good from a sustainability perspective. Any other discussion at this time? All right, seeing none, we will go ahead and move on to our secret ballot vote.
Okay, just to explain how the secret ballot is gonna work. Oh, wait, let me just see the chat. Okay, I'll explain. Okay, so for the secret ballot vote, I'm gonna be collecting the votes through a Google form. The Google form will not be collecting your email, so I will not be able to see who votes for who. Well, I'll see who you voted for, but I won't see who submitted the ballot. If anyone needs a paper ballot who's in person, please let me know. We have them. But if not, I'm gonna be putting a Google form link in the Zoom chat and also on Slack. Does
Just to clarify, only legislators can vote, correct? Since you won't be collecting emails.
Yes, only legislators can vote.
Okay.
Gosh, we didn't take that into mind. I guess,
Okay.
I mean, we'll be seeing how many people voted, so if we see that there's more, and also we only limited the Google form so that each person can only submit once.
And it must be from your Oakland email.
Exactly. And then also, if we see that there's more ballots than there are voting members today, we'll obviously revisit.
Count in the
But
votes.
obviously, you know, as an SAFB member, you cannot vote. Yes, Legislator Lehman Pace?
The only thing I was thinking to maybe mitigate that, and I don't think it's a super big deal. I think the people here who aren't legislators know not to vote. But maybe if you sent each legislator in the Zoom the link directly, so that way only they have the link and it's not just in the chat. I know that's a little bit extra work, but if that's a concern, that could be a way to mitigate that.
I mean, I can do that. I mean, but also,
I'm worried that that might be very time consuming.
there's also not everyone's on the Zoom, because some people are in person.
Oh, I just meant like the people who were.
Oh, right. I could also just directly message them, I guess, too, as well. What do you think?
But like in person, I'm sure you probably got like a QR code or something.
No, we do not. I
Oh.
can directly message everyone the link. I think, do we want to take that precaution?
That's fine.
Okay.
All right, so everybody will be receiving the link for the secret ballot. Give President Garcia. Yes.
Okay, I will send it through.
Oh, for the record, I'm present. Didn't know if I would let you know.
President Garcia, could you give us an update once all of the links have been distributed?
You mean like messages, like email messages?
I'm gonna go to through Slack.
Okay.
And then Legislator Butler, I will update your attendance.
That's. Can he still vote in this even though it's a roll call?
Yep. I'm looking to admit.
I'm going to the meeting. Oh, yeah, you guys can continue. discussing. Well, actually, no, we can't.
No, I would close discussion at this time. We try to keep the formality, so we want to stay topic with whatever we're doing. But I appreciate you asking. Is Matt going to know that he gets a vote?
Is the one that's gonna. I know, you can go on his computer, he doesn't have. Yeah.
I'll bring it to him.
I know. I was going to say, I know when we had our contested speaker election similar to this a couple years back, actually, I guess both of us were in person, but we were given our ballots beforehand just because, we didn't really need to hear the closed discussion, but
Both candidates.
Don't vote for both candidates. Don't have time to do that.
Legislator Childs, you will be receiving the secret ballot from Slack. President Garcia is currently working on sending those out. Have they all been sent? You should have it in your Slack. Is there anyone who has not received the link to vote in their Slack? So everyone has the link. We're all good. $17.
Is it everyone, did everyone?
All right, so how many votes are we still waiting on? Okay, we will give it another we'll give it another 2 minutes. 1 minute now at 5:44. We would like to have all the votes in if possible, please. right, how many votes do we have?
We have 15.
Okay, we'll give it one more minute. Legislator Sabaj, are you present or present and voting? See a present in the chat. Yeah, Legislator Sabaj, we're currently voting on commuter chair. You should receive a link to the Google form in your Slack. If you can vote immediately, we'd appreciate it. Perfect. Okay. Yep, all right, so we will officially wrap up voting.
Do we present the results if we bring them back, right? Okay, we can bring them back.
All right. Would someone like to go out and have Legislator Seidel come back in? Thank you. All right, so secret ballots have been counted and the results will be presented by President Garcia.
All right, guys. Well, this is pretty easy just because it's a Google form accounted for me. But we got a total of 16 votes. We got one person to abstain. We got 11 votes for Matthew Seidel. And okay, and 4 votes for Lance Markowitz.
So congratulations, Legislator Seidel, you are officially our new commuter support chair. Chairperson Seidel, yes. All righty, so moving on, we will go to the approval of the judiciary chair. Legislator Smith? Legislator Smith has put forward a motion for a secret ballot for judiciary chair. Is there any seconds for that? Legislator Smith. All right, so we will go ahead and go to a roll call vote on that. All righty, so when I say your name, please say yay or nay. Legislator Jizwicki, not in the room. Speaker Johnson.
Yay.
Legislator Butler.
Yay.
Legislator Childs.
Yay.
Legislator Fosna. See a yay in the chat. Legislator Liam Pace.
Yay.
Legislator Markowitz.
Yay.
Legislator Mason. Legislator Mason. Legislator Outing. Legislator Outing. Legislator Sabaj. I see a yay in the chat. Legislator Mason, we are voting on a motion to do a secret ballot for the approval of Judiciary Chair. All right, yay in the chat from Legislator Mason. Legislator Seidel
Yeah.
or Chairperson Seidel. Legislator Williams. Legislator Smith. See a yay in the chat from Legislator Outing. Legislator Smith.
Yay.
Legislator Smith.
Yay.
Legislator Verzillo.
Yay.
Legislator Wolf.
Yeah.
Legislator Whitegeist.
Yay.
Alrighty, with that, the motion to do a secret ballot is approved. Alrighty. So, for Judiciary Chair, we have Legislator Smith and Legislator Smith going up for approval. I will give the floor to Speaker Johnson at this time.
Howdy do, folks. It's me again. This should be a fun one since both of the people running have the last name Smith. So it kind of either way, we're gonna end up with a chairperson Smith. But as you all know, the Judiciary Chair is rather vital to the functions of Student Congress, especially from a checks and balances standpoint, as well as to the legislature. So I'm not going to really say too much. I'm going to let the candidates speak for themselves, and I will turn it over to them to amaze us with their wonderful speeches.
All right, so Legislator Smith, you have the floor.
Hello, everyone. Just to clarify, because there's two legislator Smiths running and both of them are in person, it's Legislator Rose Smith talking. Um, hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to see you all again today, whether that be virtually or in person. And I've met a very large majority of you, but if I haven't met you, hello, I'm Legislator Smith. My name is Rose. I've been a legislator since February of 2024, and I've been working hard to do great things as a legislator, and I'm anxious to continue doing doing great things in the Garcia Brummer administration. Obviously, I'm here speaking for a reason that you all know. I'm running to become OUSC's next Judiciary Chair. I believe that the Judiciary Chair and their committee has a very important role in not only the regulation and rule enforcement of OUSC, but to ensure that the members of the OUSC legislature and executive are properly informed on the policy and procedure of OUSC. One thing I'm aiming to strive for as Judiciary Chair is a more active Judiciary Committee. As per the bylaws, committee meetings are to be held regularly, and I've not seen that take place. I do understand that there's not always something to talk about, but I do think it's important to hold said committee meetings more, even if you don't have something to talk about, so you can at least improve and continue the communication between committee members and continue to form a bond in the legislature and in the committee. Once and if approved as Judiciary Chair, I will immediately work to form an active committee with at least 2 to 5 members, shooting for 5, and I will be hosting an orientation for said new committee, which is required by the bylaws, if I remember right. For new committee members to inform them about the jobs of the judiciary, and then of course it'd be open to all members of OUSC. So if you aren't interested in the Judiciary Committee or the role of Judiciary Chair, you can just attend to just learn more, and I can just spout more about the bylaws. If there's anything I am good at, it's combing through bylaws, rules, and constitutions to find out exactly how things are supposed to work. And I intend to put that skill to very good use in this job. And I will say, as of recent, I have been reading through OUSC's bylaws and its constitution over and over again to try and know it off the top of my head, to try and always know the answer to people's questions if they do have a question about it. As per the bylaws, within 1 week of my selection as committee chair by the legislature, I will submit to the legislature for an approval of an outline for the hearing guidelines that we intend to follow for the duration of my tenure in the position. I also intend to be extremely, as I already said, extremely well versed in the Constitution and bylaws. So during general body meetings, I can always tell if something is following protocol or not following protocol. I can speak from experience that sometimes the general body meetings during the last administration, we'd have times where we're sitting there for about 5 minutes because nobody knows if something's a rule or not. And I want to make it so we don't have to do that. As Judiciary Chair, I intend to hear all complaints of any member or non-member has to voice. I will hear them, inform the Judiciary Committee of them, and take an action from there based on the context of the complaint. I want to make it known that if I'm elected, all complaints will be heard fairly. I will also always promote legislators to voice their true and honest thoughts and opinions, especially through complaints. A former executive of OUSC once told me, if you don't feel comfortable voting and voicing your opinions, then you don't deserve to be here. And I really took that to heart when they told me that. And as Judiciary Chair, I'm going to encourage every legislator and every person in the audience, honestly, to voice their opinion and let their thoughts always be known, whether that agrees with the majority or not. OUSC is a place for a diverse group of people to voice their opinions in a productive and professional manner to better the lives of students across campus, and I will do everything in my power to ensure that is the case. I also promise that I won't be very strict with people's reasons for being absent as long as you fill out the proper form, which I feel is a given. If you don't know where that form is, always feel free to message the Judiciary Chair, and they'll send you it in a minute, no matter who it is. The position of Judiciary Chair is a serious one. It's a quote unquote honorary executive position, which is a term I stole from the bylaws, and I won't take that title lightly. As Judiciary Chair, I will mediate all problems fairly, hear complaints without bias, and not only continue to work, but to better the university, but to improve this Congress. As a brief summary of what I said, I'm the best candidate for Judiciary Chair because I'm assertive yet kind, I'm passionate yet relaxed, I'm strict but fair in all the ways need be. I'm knowledgeable about the job, and I'm dedicated to following procedure in the most fair way possible. Thank you.
Alrighty, at this time, are there any questions for Legislator Rose Smith? Alrighty, see none. Oh, Legislator Liam Pace, you have the floor.
Hey, sorry, it always takes me a second to get the hand raised. I did want to ask, well, two things. One, I noticed that you said during your speech that you would help make sure to resolve potential bylaw disputes, and I guess I was wondering, like, would that fall more under the purview of the parliamentarian, or do you see yourself acting in that role until a parliamentarian is chosen? Additionally, I do have another question for you, and it's just sort of a formality. Knowing that the Judiciary Chair has historically, I mean, just a couple of years ago, it had to be used to help oust corrupt administrative officials. How do you see yourself? Do you think that, heaven forbid the situation require it, and I'm not trying to insinuate that the president or vice president are doing anything bad, but because I know that you are close with a lot of the executive board members, do you see yourself as capable of potentially, I don't want to say prosecuting them, but like holding a trial and going through the proceedings in an impartial way should misconduct occur? So I guess to recap in layman's terms, do you see yourself as filling in for the parliamentarian until they're chosen? And then do you think that you'd be able to conduct yourself fairly, even though you are friends with some of the e-board members?
Those are some really good questions. So for your first question about that role falling more under the purview of the parliamentarian, of course, we haven't approved our summer budget as of yet, but currently under the summer budget, the position of parliamentarian is not budgeted for. It is in the fall and winter in that budget that we are looking to vote on today. But In words, yes, until we have a parliamentarian, I would fulfill that role. But of course, when we have a parliamentarian, no, I would not. But as of now, we will not. Or unless we make the change to the budget, but you get my drift there. And two, as I said in my speech, I will listen to all complaints. That includes performing a trial or hearing on anyone without bias. I believe if I were to hold bias just because I'm friends with somebody in the executive, then I wouldn't be fit for the job and I should probably be impeached. I definitely think I am able to perform hearings and trials on members of the executive, even if I am friends with them. And that goes for legislators too. I will hear complaints, I will hear removals, even if I'm close with them. Is there a question, Chet?
So Legislator Butler asks, I was wondering how relaxed you were planning to be with attendance as well as why you believe this is necessary.
I plan to be fairly relaxed. Like if you fill out the excuse form and you have like a very valid reason to not be at a GBM or something like that, then there's no reason why you shouldn't have to face repercussions for it. And I think it's completely necessary because at the end of the day, we're all college students. We all have so many different things. For most of us, this is like a side thing where we have part-time jobs, we have school, we have a whole slew of things. And sometimes we have to miss something. And I believe being relaxed on the attendance policy, as long as you have a fair reason, is needed. Thank you.
All right, so Legislator Lamb Pace asks, you were competing against an incumbent judiciary chair. What do you think is your biggest strength against them and what makes you want to unseat them?
So I will say I don't really like to view this as a competition because I like the previous incumbent. He's a very cool person. But I think my biggest strength to go against him is, I think, of course, this is more of a subjective thing. Obviously, some people see character traits of other people differently, but I think I have more of a drive to get more work done as judiciary chair, which, of course, as said, is subjective. So honestly, I think enough people in this Congress to know me and Jay Cooper to compare our character traits and vote accordingly. I don't think that's my place to say.
Great. Are there any other questions for Legislator Smith at this time before we move on to Legislator Jay Cooper Smith? All right, seeing none. Jay Cooper Smith, you have the floor.
Can everyone hear me? Okay. So hello, everyone. I am Jay Cooper Smith. I am majoring in criminal justice and I am beginning my third year here at OU. As some of you may already know, I have been here for a while. I joined Student Congress on December 2nd of 2022 as a legislator and became Judiciary Chair on May 1st of 2023 and am now a legislator once again. I have worked alongside previous administrations on various initiatives and played a pivotal role in campaigns for campus dining, campus safety, East Campus development, mental health, African American Celebration Month and planning, Cultural and Heritage Weeks, Neurodivergent Acceptance Week, sustainability, and more. I've also been a member of almost every single task force and have been heavily involved in a series of significant collaborations between OUSC and other organizations. During my time as Judiciary Chair, I have revived the position. Before me, the role was filled but not active. Many who had come before me did not realize the importance of the role and have done little to nothing with the position. After After observing as much, I decided to change that and make it a little bit more exciting and interactive. Not only have I made it more of an active role by building connections between e-board members and legislative members, but also passed a bill that applies GBM attendance procedures and policy to legislature meetings. By doing so has resulted in significant increase in attendance, not only saving legislature meetings, but also increasing attendance overall and creating an incentive for members to attend other OUSC meetings and events. Another thing that I would like to add is that under the past administration, I have not had to remove any legislators in my time as judiciary chair, which is a really good thing. This is simply because I believe that good communication is a very important skill to have for this role, and that talking through situations is a very important step when coming up with a solution for dealing with internal issues within Congress. This is a role that requires attention to detail and a consistent attendance record, as well as being a rule follower. I just so happen to be a recipient of the perfect attendance record, and also carry a personal copy of the bylaws everywhere I go, which is not a joke, that actually is true. In the duffel bag that I always carry every day, I have the Constitution and bylaws printed out, the updated Constitution in a binder. Although I have done this job previously to the best of my ability, I believe that if I am to be elected for this position again, I would be capable of taking it to the next level. As for future plans and improvement, I hope to continue to mobilize the legislature and continue to resolve internal issues strategically and professionally, prioritizing communication over unnecessarily aggressive tactics which have been used by others in the past with that position. I also hope to continue to maintain a nearly perfect attendance record for myself, and hopefully attendance will be good for others. I'm not going to be strict about that, as you know, for those who were there last time or last administration. I will also be announcing, this is a separate thing, I'm going to skip that. So one other thing that I did want to clear the air on is, so I overheard that Judiciary Committee meetings were not being held under the last administration. To fact check that, I'm going to say they have been held. But for people that don't know that, they probably weren't in the committee. So I'm just putting that out there so that we have had Judiciary Committee meetings. Thank you.
Alrighty, at this time, are there any questions for legislator Jay Cooper Smith? In the chat, legislator Butler asks, Legislator Rose Smith took a more lenient approach with attendance. What is your stance on this policy?
So if you were here under the last administration, you would know that I'm very lenient with attendance, which I've said I've not had to remove anyone. That includes attendance purposes and reasons. So in the bylaws, you have to fill out the excused absence request form, which I created. And basically you have 7 days before or after the date of the GBM to fill that out. If you have 3 unexcused absences, then that is grounds for removal. I've never had to do that. I never planned to do that. I have actually had a few people that were getting there. I can't name names. But I just talked to them. I said, hey, what's going on? And they all have like real reasons. And I've just never run into issues with that. But if there's like ridiculous things, then we'd have to sit down and like talk.
Are there any other questions at this time?
I have a question. Well,
Legislator Seidel?
Since much of the time we're not a period where the Judiciary Committee is running, currently investigating whether or not legislator needs to be removed. And for the many weeks past, and since Judiciary Chair has the second most hours of the legislature, how will those excess hours be usefully utilized? How will the candidates utilize their excess hours in judiciary care when there is not active proceedings for removal or investigation into the legislative behavior?
Unless you want to go first. Okay, hi everyone. So actually, I have never like not used all my hours. There's been a few weeks where I had like a few hours that I didn't need. But there's more than just that. So I'm also like a legislator as well, just like, or I was a legislator as well, just like everyone else. And like part of judiciary chair, you still do the things that every other legislator does. There's just those extra things, which the extra hours would be for. And then there's also like attendance. So that attendance is a big thing because you have to track every single meeting, you have to track that, you have to sit down, make sure everything's adding up, approve all the excused absences or find out what's approved and what's not approved. And then you have to meet with those people as well. So there's never really a time where there's like, oh, I have a free week, I have nothing to do.
As for my answer to the question, I have to agree with Jay Cooper, legislator Smith more than I have to agree with him because he has more experience in the position, obviously, so he knows what takes what amount of time and I don't. So I doubt I'll have very many hours where I'm not doing the work of judiciary chair, but as you said, judiciary chair is a legislator too, so if there's excess hours, write a bill, write a resolution, do something with that.
And is there any projects as a legislator that these extra hours that you may or may not have?
Hold on. Legislator Seidel just asked if there are any projects or initiatives that they might plan on executing with their extra time for those online that did not hear.
I'll answer first. I more so just want to act as a little helper for a lot of people, see if I can help writing new legislation, because I know we do a fair amount of new legislators who've never written legislation before, so I want to help if I can. The Cameron. I want to help legislators write resolutions. I want to get some personal things through. I know I have 2 resolutions on the agenda today. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so I will agree. Okay. I will agree with Legislator Smith on that. I will also add that one of the things that I'm actually going to start working on, and I have been working on actually, is collaborating with DSS, because I know recently they took away the note taker accommodation, which has affected a lot of people, including myself. And kind of just working with them to find out why that was, whether it's funding or something else, and how to bring it back or have a better alternative for that.
Alrighty, Legislator Liam Pace, you have the floor.
So I rise to ask some of the same questions of Legislator Smith as I did Legislator Smith, but I guess a little bit inverted. You, as you said, last year you were the judiciary chair. You said that you were able to revitalize the position and bring it to new prominence. You talked a little bit on some of your plans for this year, but how do you see yourself continuing the momentum of last year? What I guess what worked and what most importantly didn't that you want to change, if anything?
I need that.
They can probably hear you.
I mean, really, I kind of need to see like since we have a new administration, I kind of want to see like where things are going and try to like, I guess, find that problem. Right now, I don't see any problems because we're just getting started. But as far as like continuing, I really want to, if I were to be elected for this again, I want to be careful with, or not careful, but I want to really like interview the people that would be in my committee. I think everyone did a great job last year, but I think it's very, very important that like, if you're a committee member in my committee, that like you're there, because I've had a few issues with attendance within my personal committee, and that makes it difficult because if no one is there, then I have to do like all the attendance approvals and stuff personally, and then call people during separate days and stuff instead of just sitting down and meeting, which I also do virtual meetings as well. But really, I mean, I feel like there are times where there's not much like judiciary stuff going on, I guess you could say. But I kind of have to like look for that problem, you know, and then figure out how I'm gonna address that.
Alrighty.
Okay. I also wanted to add that I kind of want to do more like external stuff if I were to be reelected, and possibly like oversee some meetings with administration. I know I can't like say stuff in them and like, or not say stuff in them, but those are usually like meetings for president and vice president, like if you're meeting with like someone like Aura, someone way up there. But I do want to do like I've been sitting in the campus food committee meetings. And I really think it's important to have, I mean, all legislators in those kind of meetings, or at least overseeing those kind of meetings. So I want to, yeah.
Alrighty. I think at this time, Legislator Wolf. Yes.
Question is open to both candidates. Your thoughts on the separation of duties and conflicts of interest, and within you, the role of judiciary chair enforcing rules and disciplinary versus the parliamentarian, who's supposed to be a resource and guide the Congress to follow procedures correctly. Because obviously, for this to run correctly, I think, there should be a division between that, because I think the people helping everyone follow rules and making sure everything is done correctly and having their sole focus on that versus the person who enforces that and disciplines that. Because if you don't necessarily get along with someone and don't work well with them, it's you're doing discipline and enforcing things. If you don't work well with someone and you don't know exactly if you want to help them, would you work with the parliamentarian to make sure both your duties are being fulfilled and there's a separation of duties,
Just a point of information, as previously mentioned, over the summer semester, we will not have a parliament. Just for the record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yes.
Just because we didn't budget for parliamentarian, we could still have one, just how we got a commuter support chair and we didn't budget for one. We just let them know that they won't be getting extra, just to make that clear.
Okay, hello, it's legislator Rose Smith and not Leo Smith. I think I would work very closely with whoever the parliamentarian may be to ensure there is a separation, and until that spot is filled, I would say a lot of the work would have to go into just really having a lack of bias towards, even if the person is your friend or anything like that, which I think both candidates here have very good qualities to do that. I don't think either of us lack that quality at all. So yeah, I think just working closely with the parliamentarian when we have one to ensure there is a separation and ensure that both jobs are done correctly, following the bylaws.
I would 100% agree with that.
So for time's sake, at this time, we are not going to take any more questions. Speaker Johnson in the chat has mentioned, I would also like to offer that the judiciary chair handles interpretation of the bylaws and making sure those rules are followed while the parliamentarian focuses on following meeting protocols and whatnot. Alrighty, so since we will be voting via secret ballot, at this time, I'm going to have Legislator Smith and Legislator Smith leave the room. Alrighty, is there any discussion about either candidate at this time? All right, seeing Speaker Johnson, you have the floor.
Howdy, folks. I'm gonna make this really quick so that we can move on with the vote. I will say, in whatever position you want to take this from me as. The two people going up for the position, in my opinion, are both qualified to handle the position and everything it requires of its holder. I think they both do perfectly fine in it. I am again abstaining from this vote as well because, I try to be ethical with some things. But I'd like it known I have confidence in the both of them to do the job well, whoever you vote for, regardless. I will yield the floor.
All right, Legislator Liam Pace, you have the floor.
I echo the sentiments of Speaker Johnson. I think they both seem really qualified. I think that both have valuable perspectives on the matter. I like the work that former Chair Smith was able to do last year in revitalizing the role because it was really dreadful. But I also like what Legislator Smith wants to do with the role. And I think this is one of the first. Honestly, today has been one of the first in my 2.5 years in OUSC where I've seen an election that I genuinely am torn on. And I just think that we should all really recognize how solid these candidates are and how uncommon it is that an election be so hotly contested like this.
Legislator Butler, you have the floor.
Hey, Legislator Layman Pace, I was wondering if you could touch on some of the ways that Legislator Smith, Jay Cooper, was able to sort of revitalize the role, as I was not obviously a legislator at the time to be able to witness that myself, and I just wanted to be more informed.
Legislator Liam Pace, you have the floor.
Absolutely. So when I started in Student Congress in 2022, our judiciary chair was a senior, and I think she must have been suffering from some sort of senioritis or something, because I think I genuinely saw her at about 3 meetings. I had submitted attendance. I was going to miss a couple meetings for personal reasons, and I submitted my attendance sheets to her, and she was like, "Oh, you don't have to do that. Nobody else does." Even though it's written in the bylaws that you do actually have to submit a sheet. And it was really telling you. I had wanted to be on her committee, but I was told that the committee basically didn't exist because she was never holding meetings or anything. It was immediately after, it was the administration immediately following the administration that was disassembled by and then replaced with a special election. And this judiciary chair before Jay Cooper just, I don't want to call her incompetent, so I'll say she was ineffective. And Jay Cooper really had to start building from the ground up. And so I can't credit him enough with bringing back the role to what it used to be. But I also think that the other Legislator Smith is more than capable of continuing the momentum. I think now that it's been built, this train can't really be stopped, but it was a serious effort to get it back on track.
Alrighty, is there any other discussion at this time? President Garcia?
So, do you want to admit Victoria? Admit Victoria. Oh, yeah. Thank you. The only thing, okay, so I don't want to be so very neutral. However, I would just like to ask all of you to make sure that when voting, don't just vote for your friend. Don't just vote for, I don't know, just anyone who may, I guess, don't take into account any pressures you've had before this meeting, during this meeting, kind of just focus on the speeches that were given, their attributes, and who could do the best job. That's all.
Director Liam Pace, and Legislator Sabaj as well. I'm seeing your comments in the chat. President Garcia basically just mentioned that she encourages legislators not to simply vote for friends or who they've been asked to vote for, but to take into consideration all of the candidates' attributes and their speeches. All right, so is there any other discussion at this time? All right, seeing none, President Garcia will now distribute the secret ballots via Slack. And as soon as you receive that, please vote in a timely fashion. We'd appreciate it. Yep. Is there anyone online that has not received their ballot? All right, see none, we'll give you a couple of minutes. Say until 6:28. $18. If you have not voted yet, please vote. I'd say, yeah. Okay, we'll give it one more minute. Alrighty, at this time, President Garcia will present the results. Let me bring this.
I get it, so it's, oh, there we go. Okay. All right, guys, this was a very close vote. We had 17 total votes. We had 8 votes for Jay Cooper Smith and 9 votes for Rose Smith.
Great. So moving on for the agenda. Next item is the approval of Alex Verzillo as steering chair. This is presented by Speaker Johnson. Speaker
Alrighty,
Johnson.
folks. This is gonna be my last one because I know y'all sick of hearing from me for the day. Legislator Verzillo served as our steering chair at the tail end of the last administration, without saying he wanted to do so again. So I was more than happy to make sure he got put on the agenda. I will let him tell you all about his qualifications and whatnot. Legislator Verzillo, the floor is yours, my friend.
Can everyone hear me?
We can hear you in person.
All right, perfect. Okay, so hi everyone. For whoever doesn't know me, my name is Alex Verzillo. I'm a senior majoring in international relations, and like Speaker Johnson prefaced, during the last administration, I was the steering chair for a short period of time when Mel left at the end of March, basically. And I learned pretty much everything there is to know about it. As steering chair, I will continue to do what I've been doing during that time. I will continue to accommodate all of your requests. And whenever you want me to make adjustments to the agenda, I will work with you always. And I will do my best to always be responsive and get back to you in a timely manner. Because of course, everything needs to be ready before every GPM. So yeah, that's all.
All right, thank you, Legislator Verzillo. At this time, are there any questions for Legislator Verzillo? All righty, seeing none, I will put you in a waiting room and bring you back afterwards. All right, at this time, is there any discussion on Legislator Verzillo for steering chair? President Garcia?
I would like to say that Legislator Brazil always had got to me on time when he was steering chair last admin, which is not something that always happens. So I appreciate that. I think he would be a good fit for this role.
All right, is there any other discussion at this time? All righty, seeing none, we will move to a roll call vote. Alrighty, Legislator Jozwicki. Speaker Johnson. Speaker Johnson.
Yay.
Legislator Butler.
Yes.
Legislator Childs.
Yeah.
Legislator Fosna. I see a yay in the chat. Legislator Lamb Pace.
Yay.
Ready? Legislator Markowitz. Legislator Markowitz. Legislator Mason. Legislator Mason. Legislator Outing. Legislator Outing. I see a yay in the chat from Legislator Outing. Legislator Sabaj. Legislator Sabaj. Legislator Seidel. Legislator Williams. Legislator Smith. Legislator Smith. I see a yay in the chat from Legislator Sabaj. Chairperson Smith.
Yeah.
Legislator Verzillo. Oh, just kidding, he's in the waiting room. Legislator Wolf. And Legislator Whiteice.
Yay.
Alrighty, with that, Alex Verzillo is approved as steering chair. Let me bring him back in. All right, congratulations, Legislator Verzillo. You have been approved as steering chair. Alrighty, moving on. Next item on the agenda is the approval of Nia Matthews as SAFB co-chair. This is presented by Gio Liotti.
All right, hello, everyone. Okay, can everyone hear me online? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I can hear
Okay,
Loud and
awesome.
clear.
Perfect. Okay, so Nia has been a part of SAFB since last August, first as Director of Outreach, then as co-chair, starting in January of this year, I believe. And she has done just standout work assisting me in keeping track of all things that we need to do to run SAFB. And I would like to have her still be my co-captain this year. Nia, you have the floor.
Hi, everybody. I'm Nia Matthews, SAFB co-chair, running co-chair, former co-chair, everything in the mix. I just wanted to say that I really, really like my job. When I first started out as Director of Outreach, I didn't know I would like my job as much as I do. It's fun working with everybody, especially in the office. I made a lot of cool bonds with everyone, and I think that just thinking of ways to improve SAFB and Student Congress is one of our goals for this upcoming this upcoming summer, because we have a lot of things we want to improve upon. We have a lot of things that we want to do, and so I just think that making me co-chair again would help with proceeding with that. And I bring a lot of innovation. I bring a lot of cool ideas. I bring a lot of organizational skills that I've learned not only from Gio, but from our previous co-chair, Natalie, that has really helped me grow as co-chair and grow in my other fields and what I do. And so I just think that, I just want to come back and start working again. So yay.
Thank you, Nia. Are there any questions for Nia at this time? Alrighty, seeing none, Nia, we're gonna go ahead and put you in a waiting room and bring you back in just a minute. Alrighty, is there any discussion on Nia Matthews for co-chair?
Nia's great.
President Garcia.
So I first knew Nia when she became a legislator for Student Congress, I think not last year, but the year before that. And I remember her perspective speech. She was mentioning all the clubs that she and all the positions she's taken. And I just know that Nia's really well connected with campus. And I've heard from Chio that she's been a great co-chair, so I think she'll be great for this role.
Legislator Smith, you have the floor.
Hello, I would like to just vocalize my support for Nia because last administration, every single time I'd walk into the office, I would always see her in there working. I know she's a very, very, very hard worker. And quite frankly, hasn't been a time I've been in this Congress and she hasn't been SAFB co-chair. The meeting where she was approved was the meeting before I was approved, so yeah.
Speaker Johnson, you have the floor.
There we go. I will say I'm very confident in Nia's abilities to do the job. We've all commented many times over the last administration how great SAFB was running and how it was a very fine-tuned machine that was working perfectly, and she was a very instrumental part of that. And if Chairperson Liati has confidence in her to return to the position, so do I.
Alrighty, for time's sake, we will move on to a roll call vote at this time. Legislator Jozwicki. Speaker Johnson.
Yay.
Legislator Butler.
Yay.
Legislator Childs.
Yay.
Legislator Fosna. See a yay in the chat. Legislator Lamb Pace.
Yay.
Legislator Markowitz. Legislator Markowitz. Legislator Mason. Legislator Mason. Legislator Outing. Legislator Outing. I see a yay in the chat. Legislator Sabaj. Legislator Sabaj. See a yay in the chat. Chairperson Seidel. Chairperson Seidel. Legislator Williams. Legislator Smith.
Yeah.
Legislator Smith. Legislator Smith.
Yeah.
Chairperson Smith, my apologies. Legislator Verzillo.
Yay.
Legislator Wolf.
Yeah.
Legislator Whitegeist.
Yay.
Alrighty. Let me go ahead and bring Nia back in. Alrighty, so with that, Nia Matthews has been approved as co-chair for SAFB. Alrighty, moving on. The next item on the agenda is going to be the approval of Ivy Walker as SAFB Director of Marketing. This is also presented by Chairperson Liati.
I'm still here. All right. So Nia has been SAFB's Director of Marketing for almost a year, since around September 2023. And she has established like a standout style for our marketing materials. I think she has done a great job with our Instagram, with our posters, with all of our, marketing materials. And she's just a joy to work with. So Ivy, you have the floor.
Hello, members of the board. My name is Ivy Walker. I'm 21 years old. Starting next school year, I will be going into my senior year as a graphic design student. During the last school year, I worked for this position, and if I'm approved again for the summer period, I will use this as an opportunity to further develop my design skills and continue to build upon my portfolio, and will continue to share and market information regarding SAFB and the funding bylaws to student orgs. What I bring to the table is my creativity, design skills, and a positive attitude.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ivy. Does anyone have any questions for her? I think, okay. VP is coming in.
All right, seeing no questions for Ivy. Ivy, we're gonna go ahead and put you in a waiting room and bring you back in just a minute. All righty, is there any discussion at this time? All right, seeing none, we will move on to a roll call vote. Legislator Drizwicki. Speaker Johnson.
Yay.
Legislator Butler. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Could you repeat that?
Yay.
Alrighty. Legislator Childs.
Yay.
Legislator Fosna. The yay in the chat from Legislator Fosna. Legislator Lamb Pace. Legislator Lamb Pace. Legislator Markowitz. Legislator Markowitz. Legislator Mason. Legislator Mason. Legislator Outing. Legislator Outing. Oh, I see the yay in the chat. Thank you, Joe. Legislator Sabash. Legislator, I see a yay in the chat. Chairperson Seidel.
Yeah.
Legislator Williams. Legislator Smith.
Yeah.
Legislator Smith.
Yay.
Chairperson Smith.
Yeah.
Legislator Verzillo.
Yay.
Legislator Wolf.
Yay.
Legislator Whitegeist.
Yay.
Alrighty. Alrighty, with that, Ivy Walker is approved as SAFB's Director of Marketing. Moving on to the next agenda item, that will be the approval of Haley Ludwig as SAFB Director of Accounting. This is also presented by Chairperson Liati.
All right, last one. Then you guys are done voting for approvals. So Hallie began working as Director of Accounting during what I think is the busiest time I've ever seen in SAFB history, at least as far back as I've been SAFB. And she really did an amazing job catching up to what we were doing. She caught on to the policies super fast. And yeah, she's done a great job and adapted super fast to all of the requirements. So Hallie, your floor is yours.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Hallie. I'm an accounting major and I really like looking at numbers. So being an SAFB and looking at all the budget requests is really fun. I love everybody in SAFB. Like Nia, I love being in the office. Nia and I talk a lot when we're both in the office. And I just think that being, reinstated into SAFB would benefit you guys, so that one, you have somebody who already knows what's going on, and you don't have to hire a new person again. And I have a lot of ideas that we didn't get to at the end of the year that we're hoping to get to in the summer on things to do to help clubs and other organizations get together and learn about each other, because I know that getting the word of GrizOrgs and Student Congress out there is really hard, and I'd really like to use the summer and this upcoming fall and winter semester to really outreach to a lot of different people. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you, Hallie.
All right, are there any questions for Hallie at this time? Alrighty, seeing none. Hallie, I'm gonna go ahead and put you in a waiting room and bring you back in a minute. Is there any discussion on Hallie at this time? Okay, seeing none, we will move to a roll call vote. Soon as, okay. All right, Legislator Joswicki. Speaker Johnson.
Yay.
Legislator Butler. See a yay in the chat. Legislator Childs.
Yeah.
Legislator Fosna. See a yay in the chat. Legislator Lamb Pace.
Yay.
Legislator Markowitz. Legislator Mason. Legislator Outing. Legislator Sabaj. See a yay in the chat from Legislator Sabaj. Chairperson Seidel.
Yay.
Legislator Williams. Legislator Smith.
Yeah.
Legislator Smith. Chairperson Smith. Legislator Brazillo. Legislator Brazillo.
Sorry. Yay.
You're good, no worries. Legislator Wolf. Legislator Whitegeist.
Yay.
Alrighty.
Did somebody get disconnected?
Gio said that the computer died. So the Oakland people are gone.
Okay.
But the camera's still on? Yeah,
Mm.
there's still the host, it looks like.
I thought the host switched. Is it they
The
switched the host?
host did switch.
What is the camera doing?
That's what I've been doing that the whole meeting though. Like
I mean, it
it's
like
been
tries to
like
track
it.
who's
The
speaking or
camera,
something.
hey, everyone, leave the camera alone. It has a lazy eye and doesn't know how to focus.
Just like me.
Loop-de-doop and pull. Now your shoes are looking cool. Okay, I'm done. I'm done.
Technical difficulties, everybody. It happens at like every meeting, so
Well, this has never happened before.
We're alive.
but like something happens.
Alrighty, so with that vote, Hallie Ludwig is approved as Director of Accounting for SAFB.
Congratulations, guys. We all got approved.
Vice President Brommer, are you back in action over there? Everything okay?
Oh yeah, we're good. We're moving along
Okay.
for time's sake. Alrighty, moving on, Legislator Smith.
Okay, I would like to put forth a motion to table CR 6702 and CR 6703 for the sake of time.
Is there a second for that motion?
I will second the motion.
Seconded by Speaker Johnson. Alrighty, so those two will be tabled. Moving on, we will go to old business. For that, we will be going through the OUSC 2024-2025 summer budget proposal. This is presented by President Garcia.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for sticking along through this very long meeting, but gotta give the budget its due diligence. All right, so main budget. This doesn't really tell you too much, but you can go ahead and look through it if you would like to. All right. Just like last time, I'm gonna go section by section, and anyone is able to ask questions at the end of each section. All right. So for compensation, again, we had to cut some hours a little bit because this is the first summer we're paying 15. We also have a pretty low starting amount. And we had to compensate for all legislator spots, even if they're not all filled. Also, SAFB, their compensation does not come from our budget, it comes from their budget. And finally, we're only budgeting for speaker or judiciary chair. However, the other chair positions are still available to be filled if anyone is interested. Chairperson Liati?
The SAFB payroll, so do I have to remove that because so the total doesn't include
The max total?
Yeah.
Okay, so Chairperson Liati is saying that the SAFB total is included in the max total. And wants to see if anyone would like to motion to change that.
I can't.
I mean, I think I can change it. I don't think we need a motion. Gio, I would say that you're good.
Friendly amendment. My only question was, is there a concern that allowing the SAFB allocation to be in the max total, that there's gonna be some question of conflict of interest or anything like that?
Allocations.
Can you hear Chairperson Liati?
I could not.
Okay, so she's gonna go ahead and repeat that.
I just got it up so that it's total. The max total includes what USD is spending. So there is no confusion between what comes out of SAFB's budget and USD's budget.
Just to
use the mic, they can hear you.
So just to clarify, so are you saying that the max total is now including SAFB? Okay, okay, it did before.
Yeah.
So all we're doing is changing it so the max total does not include SAFB's compensation.
Yeah.
But then why did we conclude it before? Because this is just like a.
I would note that since we're not factoring in SASB in the Student Congress spending, it makes sense. So I will offer the friendly amendment to do so, predicated on you all wanting to go forward with that.
Okay,
I don't know what it was for, the only thing this is doing is approving how many hours the board is working. So
all right.
I'll go ahead and.
All right, thank you, Chairperson Liati, for pointing that out. Does anyone else have any more questions about the compensation section of the budget? All right, I'll go into the next section. As for executive office, so here we just have anything that might go into training, retreat or bondings. So this can usually just, for bonding, it usually just goes into like, if we go to a restaurant or bowling or something like that, it would pay for everyone's cost for that. Next, we have Swipe Out Hunger. This is just for any promotional items that we might want to do for that initiative. We try to put a low amount just because we don't expect to need much at all. Reusable menstrual products. This can be reusable pads or the menstrual cups. We lowered the allocation for this because much to Legislator Fosnow's point, we might not need as much. And we try to research how much they could cost. Also, we would maybe put these through the food pantry because they've had menstrual products in giving, I can't talk anymore. We might do this through the food pantry because they give away pads in the past as well. Okay, food pantry donation. We usually have this every semester. Free menstrual product initiative. This is just to pay for any of the pads or tampons that would go into the dispensers all around campus. And then finally, usually each semester we have a discretionary line item in the executive office section, and this is for $5,000. Any questions for me?
I'm sorry, I did have a question about the payroll though. I was just wondering, why the payroll, like maximum difference for the speaker is not there.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, so I was just wondering why the payroll maximum difference for the speaker is not there.
Oh, the backup hours?
No, the actual speaker line 24.
Yeah, 24, what's?
We
The
have the
maximum
maximum difference included.
Okay, so, okay, so the maximum is just how much if speaker were to clock all their hours every single week, that would be how much they would spend.
I know what it is. I was just wondering because I can't see it.
What do you mean you can't see it?
I mean,
I'm
it's not there. Like I can't see it.
It may just be a technical issue
'Cause
because
we
it
can-
is in our spreadsheet.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I can text you after this to make sure that you can see it, but.
Okay.
All right. All right, does anyone have any questions for the executive office section? All right, seeing none, I'm gonna go on to the internal affairs section. So we have a lot of line items here. Of course, we have $100 for office supplies. This is just to see if we need to restock anything. We have 2,500 for office improvements. This may involve seating, organizers, not paint, because we are not painting the office. Just anything that we might want to have for the office to make it a more better space, a better workspace. And yeah, Blue Books and Scantrons, we allocate this every semester to give away free for students. GBM food, sometimes if you guys have noticed, we provide food during GBMs just because they're so late. Name tags and desk plates, all legislators should have one of these soon. I haven't placed an order for them yet because I was waiting for the budget to be passed, but everyone should have soon a little plate that has their name and their position, as well as a little badge that has their name, pronouns, position, etc. All right, yearbooks, we did this last year. You kind of want to do one again, so this is about how much you spent, a little bit more, but this is about how much we spent last year. Computers for the office, we were thinking of just buying one computer for the office, especially because since we have a lot more members and a lot of our computers are getting a little old in the office. Hybrid meeting tech, this can go towards a new camera for our virtual meeting. As a lot of you know, the current camera right now doesn't work too well. It's a little broken and it zooms a lot for no reason. Next, we have some posters and handouts. We're always making more posters and handouts, always making printing orders, so we allocated 1,000 for that. And finally, tabling supplies can be for anything that we might want to table with, including like lanyards, I think maybe even pronoun pins. Of course, we're going to be tabling a lot for orientation, so that's going to be really important in case we need a restock on anything. Does anyone have any questions for this section? Okay, moving on to the next section. We do not plan to have a director of technology for this semester, so we're gonna skip that. As far as sustainability, so we have 800 allocated for the pollinated garden, for any tools or any type of expansion that we might want to do on that end. I don't know if we are, but just in case. Heritage site tools, this is for the Native American Heritage Site. They're asking for more tools. However, we are gonna try to find more different avenues for them to get the funding for that. But if OUSC wants to contribute at least a little bit, we did allocate 150 for that. And then finally recycling posters. So this is just for any signage that we might want to have for the new recycling bins that were purchased last admin. So yeah, just for signage. Does anyone have any questions for sustainability?
I have a question. So, for the total, not the total, the remaining cost, why is the remaining cost only for like the 300?
Literally just because I haven't applied it to the other ones, like apply the formula to the other ones. It's not intentional. Yeah. So yeah, not intentional. Any other questions? Okay. Student services, again, no director for that one. Diversity inclusion, did I skip one? No, I didn't. Okay, so we put eats and beats here just because we're not gonna have a director of outreach and events, so this could fall under director of diversity and inclusion. This is about how much we spent last year, so that's what we're allocating for this year. It's a very well-attended event, so that's why it's a little high. Hispanic Heritage Month, this is for any co-sponsorships that we might plan to do. And then we have a GSC donation. We do this every semester, see what type of ways that we can help them. And oh, actually, we're not gonna have this line item, right? No. Okay. Take that right out. Sorry, we forgot to take that out. Any questions for the section?
Legislator Slightly.
What is the budget for Eats and Beats, but relative to its attendance for 8,000? It seems like extremely high for a single campus event.
So we've had extremely high attendance rates before, like hundreds and hundreds of students, so usually we have like a food truck there, which costs a lot of money. We'll have s'mores, tie-dyeing. We kind of do it in tandem with the walk to Meadowbrook Hall, so a lot of the students who are walking there kind of stop by. Or, I mean, I guess a lot of students are just very excited for the event in general, so yeah, pretty high attendance for that.
Also a point of information, I believe that this is relatively what was spent on Eats and Beats last summer.
I asked this question because when I run a 50-person event, I only have to spend about less than $300 on food. And so the idea that you need $8,000 for an event that's like less than 500 attendees seems extraordinarily.
I don't think.
So that's why I'm kind of.
Give it to Jean Ann.
This particular event for the last couple of years has been very, very well attended. And they underestimated the amount of food and they've run out. And they've had to, at times, ask the vendors right then and there if they could spend more, if they could serve more food. But this is because it's during Welcome Week, because it's one of the first events that OUSC puts on, the attendance will be far more than what you're saying, a 30, 50.
Well, that's like.
It's easily at least 500.
Right, Legislator Smith or Chairperson Smith, you have the floor.
Yeah, I was gonna make Gina where she made it. And yeah, I remember going to this event in September last year, and I distinctly remember barely being able to get there and not even eating anything because there was just so many people. There was people going down the street. It was crowded.
You have the floor. Some context for this type of legislative title is like, even before I was a student here before, the eats and feeds things that people talk about even outside of college, like out of high school, like students know of that as something that makes Oakland University interesting. You know, it's sort of attractive because people might even bring their younger siblings or friends in the area to say, hey, you should come to this with me.
I've been convinced, I hadn't heard of it, and I'm like, it's gonna be about.
All right, so Speaker Johnson?
I was only gonna throw in that we could talk to the former Director Mumby who ran the event last administration about cost, because I'm assuming a lot of that's gonna be for the vendors and the amount of food we're gonna be asking them to prepare. So I would throw in that if we want to contact them, that's something we could try to explore. But the cost seems relatively fine to me, judging by how much food we're gonna be needing from each vendor.
So yeah, so I actually did reach out to Director Mumby and this is the estimate that they gave me, so, yeah. Cool. Any other questions for diversity inclusion? All right, did I call them Director Mumby or Nick Mumby?
Director.
Okay, they're not a director, they are a graduate. I contacted Nick Mumby, yeah, former Director Mumby, there we go. Next section, executive platform. Here we just have stuff that might be things that purchases that we might want to do to accomplish things that were on our platform. So here we have a presidential task force. This is something that the president takes on to just respond to any type of thing that might come up that we want to respond to through the task force. General Assembly, this is for any outreach we want to do or anything that we might want to do for the actual General Assembly meetings. Honestly, we feel like we can reduce this, so I'm just gonna reduce it right now. Boom. Okay, voter registration marketing. As you all know, the presidential elections are coming up. So we definitely want to do marketing so that all students are very aware of the election that's coming up. Next, we have free stamps. We usually do we have done this free stamp initiative for a while now, and so we allocate for some each semester. And then finally, we just have events, again, for voter engagement, but this time for events instead of marketing. Does anyone have any questions at all about this section or any other previous section? All right, next section, no director of marketing. We do have a line item for alternative vendors. This is just required through the bylaws. I'll just explain just in case anyone needs an explanation. So this is for if you're gonna make a purchase for something and you find an alternative option that is more ethical or sustainable, this is just to cover the difference in costs that the more ethical purchase might have versus the regular option. Yeah, that would just cover the difference. Any questions about that? All right. Nothing for this one, nothing for this one. Finally, legislative initiatives, I'll go ahead and let VP Brummer.
So for legislative initiatives, our first line item is dining. So this has to do with potential dining initiatives that we might want to take on. So improving the quality of the food or advertising for more dining hall hours. Next, we have the Maximizing College event. As you heard from Legislator Markowitz earlier, we have $400 set aside for this. This would primarily cover food and potentially advertisement for the event. Next, we have a line item for our health and safety task force. We have $150 set aside in case we decide to go further with any of the initiatives that we may discuss in the task force. The same goes for our events and outreach task force, in addition to our housing and campus life task force. Each has a $150 allocation. All right, and then that is it for the summer budget. Is there any other questions or concerns or comments at this time? All right, seeing none, we will go ahead and move on to a roll call vote. All right, Legislator Jozwicki. Speaker Johnson,
Yay.
Legislator Butler. See a yay in the chat. Legislator Childs,
Yay.
Legislator Fosna. Legislator Fosna, see a yay in the chat. Legislator Liam Pace. Legislator Liam Pace. Legislator Markowitz. Legislator Markowitz. Legislator Mason. Legislator Mason. Legislator Outing. Legislator Outing. Legislator Sabaj. Legislator Sabaj. I see a yay in the chat. Chairperson Seidel. Legislator Williams. Legislator Smith. Legislator Smith has left. Chairperson Smith. Legislator Verzillo or Chairperson Verzillo.
Yay.
Legislator Wolf.
Yay.
Legislator Whitegeist.
Yay.
Alrighty. And with that, the summer budget proposal is passed. Alrighty, moving on to old business. We have CB 6701. This is presented by Legislator Liam Pace. Legislator Liam Pace, you have the floor. All right. President Garcia.
Motion table. CB 6701.
Seconded by Legislator Smith. Alrighty, moving on, we will go to legislative updates. Speaker Johnson, you have the floor.
Howdy do, folks. I know y'all all ready to go home, so don't worry, I'm gonna make this real quick. What did I throw on my sheet? Let's see, another thing or two. I know I did a lot of, if it would load. There we go. I did some work on the memory book that should be done soon. We made some great progress with that. We had legislative training, which was really fun, and I'm glad those who could attend did. Those who didn't, thank you for letting me know ahead of time. We'll get it scheduled for you, don't worry. And then I had a one-on-one with VP Brummer. I'm sure I did other stuff that I just forgot to mention. What I did want to throw in there is a reminder that the legislature still needs a parliamentarian. So if you are interested in that position or just want to know more about it, please reach out to me because I would love to have it filled. The parliamentarian is very, oh. Did I cut out? Oh. But the parliamentarian is very useful to our functions in student congress, and I'd love to have someone fill it. That is all I have, and I will yield the floor.
All right, and just another reminder for any legislators or chairpersons at this point. If you do anything throughout the week or in between our meetings, please include this in your legislative reports. We love to see what you are up to. Moving on, we will go to liaison reports. So at this time, PCO liaison, Emily Lunger. Liaison Lunger, are you present in the call? All right, I will go ahead and present. So there is a new PCO. Oh yeah, Liaison Lunger, you have the floor. I don't. Liaison Lunger, I believe you will have to unmute yourself, unfortunately. Liaison Lunger, are you able to unmute at this time? Liaison Lunger? Okay, that's okay. I will go ahead and present your liaison report for now. So Liaison Emily Lunger says that the new PCO e-board members have been chosen. The next PCO e-board meeting is on Friday, May 17th at 5 p.m. and they will be planning gardening events. The Earth Art Show was also a huge success and all of the photos were beautiful. Katya started taking photos down on Monday. If you're interested in picking up your photos, email Katya to schedule a time. And Liaison Lunger has included her email in her report. Alrighty, so moving on, we will go to updates related to legislative projects and initiatives. Are there any at this time? Seeing none, we will move on to any questions related to legislative reports. Are there any at this time? Alrighty, seeing none, we will move on to executive reports. President Garcia.
Hey everyone, I'll try to keep this short and a little long. Can you scroll down like slightly? Thank you. Okay. So a lot of these things I did with VP Bremer. So I think like the biggest part was meeting with a lot of people around campus. I listed all of the things that I discussed there, as well as everyone that I talked to. So if anyone has any questions about what I talked about, definitely just reach out and send me a Slack message. But of course, these e-board reports are available to everyone in the email. So yeah, definitely just read over that. But then other than that, I just did some interviews also with VP Bremer, and I attended a Hispanic Heritage Month planning committee meeting. I sat in on a few SAFB interviews, and also this is really important. General Assembly, so there's gonna be our very first one of the admin for the first meeting of June. So if you know of any student orgs that would like to have a delegate at the General Assembly, please let me know. All they have to do is just email me, letting me know that they want to be a delegate. So, yep. And also, we really, really desperately need someone to help me with the meeting minutes until we get a director of internal affairs hired. So if anyone is interested and would like something to clock, meeting minutes is a great thing. Just reach out. Thank you.
Alrighty, moving on. My report is a little bit short. So I have primarily, in addition to all of the stuff that President Garcia mentioned and the meetings we attended together, I've been working on Senate committee appointments. So I just wanted to point out that these committee appointments or the meetings that you attend with these committees cannot be clocked. These meetings will not begin until the fall. And if you find out that a committee that you have been appointed to conflicts with your schedule, please let us know. We can work with you to find a different committee for you to be on, or, figure out the plan moving forward with that. If you have not done so, please fill out the Google form for which Senate committee appointments you would like. If you do not, we'll just pick Senate committee appointments for you. Also, if you don't know if you filled out the form or not, please feel free to reach out to me. I have a list of people I'm still waiting to get the form for, so if you need clarification on that, I'm more than happy to provide it. Alrighty. Moving on to OUSC advisors. Jean-Ann, do you have anything?
I was approached today by the custodial maiden from Cleveland, and they're asking questions in regards to the sterile dispensary and making sure that they're full. They're telling me they're not, and I just need to give an update to them. So I don't know, during the summertime, you have somebody sign for it, and will they be filled? VP, Brummer has just trained me, Allison, and Rose to fill them, and we're gonna start, setting up time to get here and get it done.
So just to add on to that, if there is any legislator at this time who's interested in helping us to refill the menstrual product dispensers, feel free to reach out to Allison and Ben, and even Rose would be happy to help you with it. We will really need a lot of support from our legislators on this. If we find that it's a problem, we can start assigning different buildings or different bathrooms so that, everyone has a fair share of all the work, but we'd really like to avoid that. So if, as legislators, you can make sure that you're involved with that and we are participating and maintaining our commitment to keeping them full, it would be greatly appreciated.
Legislators, do they clock in? Was that part of their 5 hours?
Yes, so Jean Ann just asked if legislators can clock refilling the menstrual product dispensers, and yes, you can. So this can go towards your 5 hours for the week, and since it is in person, it will also help you meet the 50-50 requirement. All right, moving on. Are there any updates related to eBoard projects and initiatives? Alrighty, seeing none at this time. Are there any questions related to executive reports? Seeing none at this time. And is there any comments from the gallery? Not that I believe we have a gallery today. Are there any announcements from anyone at this time? Seeing none, we will adjourn today's meeting at 7:25. All right, thank you everyone for coming, and I appreciate your patience with such a long meeting.
Peace.